Fox 5 News at 6 starts right now.
And right now, there's a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of metro Atlanta. Most of you have had hot temperatures and felt the humidity, but some of you are also seeing storms.
And those storms could be severe in some areas, so let's get straight over to Fox 5 Storm Team Chief Meteorologist David Chanley, who's tracking the rain for us. David?
Yeah, Thomas, I know you're right. It's been a hot afternoon across North Georgia. Most areas well into the 90s. There's not a lot of precipitation out there, but we do have one cell that kind of got out of hand over here in Heard County now. Severe thunderstorm warning for Heard and just the northern sections of Troup County till 6:30 tonight. This cell now just to the north of Franklin, moving to the southeast at about 25 miles an hour, capable of 60-mile-an-hour winds and 1-inch hail. And that prompted the Weather Service to issue the severe thunderstorm warning. It was a pretty nasty thunderstorm in Carroll County near Bremen, and now it's knocking on the door of Franklin. See if it holds together. It makes its way on into Troup County. So severe thunderstorm warning for that area until 6:30 this evening. Now, we've had a couple little sprinkles in and around Marietta and Smyrna, but they're just about gone right now. And you're seeing a line of thunderstorms lining up right there at Birmingham, but it's all moving down southeast, not coming our direction. Temperatures around the region, man, oh man, is it hot? Yeah, we hit 94 this afternoon. We're at 91 here now, but how about Covington at 97, Eatonton at 97, 94 over in Athens. As we march through this evening, it's going to be mostly clear for most of us, other than that lone thunderstorm, and warm. Temperatures in the 90s, trying to get down into the 80s by 11 o'clock tonight. We do see some heat relief in a big way in here for Father's Day weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, David. Well, there is a major development in the case of the Cobb County father who's accused of leaving his son in a hot car to die. We now know where he'll be tried. Ross Harris was set to be tried at Cobb County Courthouse in Marietta for the death of his 22-month-old son, Cooper. There had even been weeks of jury selection.
But just before a jury pool was set, the judge granted a defense motion to move the trial out of metro Atlanta because he couldn't get a fair trial because of all the publicity.
Well, we now know that Harris will be tried in nearly 300 miles away at the Glenn County Courthouse in Brunswick.
Fox 5's Angelique Proctor has been following the case since the beginning and has a look at what the decision means for the case.
It seems Brunswick was the favorite relocation spot from the very beginning, primarily because Cobb County has tried a murder case there in the past. They say they know all the courtroom officials and the accommodations were quite nice.
It's probably one of the worst kept secrets.
All the speculation is over. The coastal city of Brunswick is where the highly publicized hot car death case against Ross Harris will be held. Now the mammoth and tedious task of moving the trial begins. The court administrator says the biggest expense is housing.
When you move a trial of this nature, there are a lot of moving parts. We have the judge and their staff to consider. We have the court staff that will be supporting the trial, the court administration, the prosecution team, the defense team, housing for the defendant.
Glenn County and Cobb have worked together before as change of venue sites for other trials. The court administrator says in addition to those established relationships, there are other reasons Brunswick was the perfect fit.
In many ways, it's very similar to Cobb. There are businesses down there. It's a very vibrant community. It has industry, but it also has a good deal of suburban areas.
Prosecutors say Harris intentionally left his son Cooper to die in a hot car back in June of 2014. The defense says it was all an accident. The judge and attorneys for both sides agree finding impartial jurors in Brunswick should be easier.
Primarily, Brunswick gets its news coverage out of the Jacksonville area, and coverage, what we've been able to decide, is not as pervasive down there as it has been up here.
This trial is set to begin September 12th. Jury selection should take about 2 weeks. The trial itself, 4 to 6 weeks. In Cobb County, Angelique Proctor, Fox 5 News.
We're following developments in the dispute over Martin Luther King Jr.'s Nobel Peace Prize and traveling Bible. The case is now one step closer to going to trial after a Fulton County Superior Court judge refused to rule on the dispute. King's estate, which is controlled by his two sons, asked a judge to order their sister to surrender the items. They plan to sell the items to a private buyer, but Bernice King opposes the sale and argues that the Bible and the Nobel Prize don't belong to the estate. Well, an Athens couple says that a drive-by shooting sent 2 stray bullets flying right into their apartment last night.
Now, one bullet came through the living room window. Another came through a second-floor window right near the spot where their 5-month-old daughter sleeps. Christy Hutchings with News Radio 106.7 shows us the damage.
That's the baby crib. The bullet came straight through here. Went in, grazed that, and went straight out through the tub.
Joey Wilbon says that's just one of the bullets that came into his home Wednesday night. The other bullet hole is downstairs. It came straight through the living room, through the kitchen, and out the window. Joey and his wife, Shakina, say gunfire in this neighborhood isn't uncommon, and they fear one day the bullet will hit their 5-month-old daughter, Chloe.
We never know when we'll have to get on the floor, or we're always thinking about what's next, where will we have to hide, because they're always shooting.
The couple is so on edge that Joey quit his job 2 months ago to stay home to protect his family.
I was at work trying to make a better living for my family and get them out of this environment, but unfortunately, you know, it couldn't happen that way because so much goes on.
Shakina says she wants out of here, and soon.
Management is supposed to be helping us find another apartment, but until then, I don't know, just scared, very dangerous.
We think about it every time you pass the bullet hole that your body lines right up with the bullet hole, and that could have been someone's life or our little baby life.
In Athens, Christy Hutchings, News Radio 106.7 Fox 5 News.
Well, new at 6, Atlanta police say the threats against 2 Midtown Atlanta gay bars were not credible. Atlanta police had stepped up patrols near the bars after a Twitter post said the bars could be, quote, the next Orlando. Police now say the person's Twitter handle had been hacked.
It appears that that individual, his identity had been taken, and we believe that somebody else made that post based on our investigation so far, which would also lead us to believe that the threat is not credible.
Police say they've spoken to the person who they believe sent the tweet. They tell us the investigation is ongoing. Tom?
Senate President Obama and Vice President Joe Biden offer words of support to the families of the victims of the Orlando attacks. They just wrapped up their visit, the trip coming just days after the worst terror attack on U.S. soil since 9/11. And new details are now emerging about what the gunman was doing during the 3-hour standoff at the Pulse nightclub. Fox News correspondent Joel Waldman reports from Orlando.
Air Force One landing at Orlando International this afternoon. The president, who flew down with Senator Marco Rubio, was greeted by Florida Governor Rick Scott and Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer waiting on the tarmac. In addition to meeting with families of the victims and survivors of the attack, the president thanked first responders and hospital workers for their work over the last several days. The first funerals for victims of the tragedy are now being held, with 2 people being laid to rest today. Autopsies on all 49 of those killed have been completed.
We have to document the injuries, entrance wounds, exit wounds. Our other mission is to identify victims and reunite them with their families as soon as possible.
Meantime, new details are emerging about what the shooter was doing during the 3-hour standoff at the nightclub. Omar Mateen reportedly made more than 12 phone calls, searched websites for coverage of the event, and made threatening posts about ISIS on Facebook.
It demonstrates clearly that Omar Mateen, no matter for how long a period, was clearly a supporter of ISIS.
Well, an autopsy will determine how a little boy dragged off by an alligator at Walt Disney World actually died. Searchers recovered the body of 2-year-old Lane Graves about 16 hours after the gator grabbed the child at a lake near the Disney Grand Floridian Resort. News of his death is hitting hard in the Omaha, Nebraska neighborhood where his family lives. The principal of Little Lane School became emotional as he talked about the tragedy.
They were protective, they were careful. It was a tragic accident, and one that could happen to me, to you, anybody out there. They were acting in a safe manner.
The Orange County Sheriff says charges are unlikely against Lane's parents. Disney says it's reviewing whether to add gator warning signs. Tom?
Well, Sinead, the story of that alligator attack has many people asking how something like this could have happened. We took that question to one of the only licensed trappers in Georgia. He talks to Fox 5's Doug Evans about what went wrong and why we're seeing more alligators here in our state.
How big will he get?
If it's a male, 10 to 12 feet, 800 to 1,000 pounds.
Jason Clark is an alligator trapper in Georgia. If the one that snatched a child from the shoreline of a Disney resort this week was 4 to 7 feet long, well, Clark says that size is his least favorite.
Simply because they're big enough to hurt you, but small enough to be really fast.
Clark says he's very familiar with the Seven Seas Lagoon on the Disney property from his own vacations there. He said it's a man-made lake connected to outside waterways.
I mean, it's a perfect habitat for American alligators.
The Georgia DNR recently hired Jason Clark to trap and relocate a 6-foot alligator in Peachtree City. That hunt continues, and Clark said an even larger one, a 10-footer, resides nearby. He said alligators are nocturnal, feed near the shoreline, and prey on small animals splashing about. A tragic combination that might have contributed to the death of Nebraska toddler Lane Graves.
An alligator even much larger than the one we're talking about can conceal itself in just 12 inches of water.
Searchers found the 2-year-old's body about 15 feet from where his parents say an alligator attacked him while he waded in the Disney lake. Authorities said his body was intact and the boy apparently drowned. Clark said alligators will do that, and this one was probably frightened away by the commotion it had caused.
It makes sense to an alligator for this to be a meal. And so from the alligator's perspective, this was just a normal night.
And like the one he brought to show us today, he believes that the one that attacked the boy was being fed by humans.
An alligator that's been fed is one that will possibly attack. So that's why this alligator will have to stay in captivity for the rest of his life. Alligators that are fed by people are alligators that look at people as food.
He says that gator should have been naturally afraid to come that close to a busy shoreline, but it wasn't. In Fayette County, Doug Evans, Fox 5 News.
A British lawmaker is gunned down in the area she represented. Labour Party member Jo Cox was shot to death near a library in the town of Birstall. That's about 200 miles from London. Now, she was about to meet with constituents when those shots rang out. Police have arrested a man in connection to the attack. They're not looking for anyone else, but they're also not revealing a motive for the shooting.
A man who police say escaped from a Georgia prison in 1979 is now back in jail after more than 35 years on the run. Billy Birchfield was serving a 16-year sentence for manslaughter when he escaped. Sheriff's deputies say a tip from police in Jackson County, Georgia, led them to Laurel County, Kentucky. Detectives say that Birchfield has been using a name of a cousin who's died. FBI agents use fingerprints to confirm Birchfield's identity. New at 6, Atlanta police need your help to figure out who these women are. Officers say they're suspects in a burglary. Officers say last month the 2 women used a credit card that was taken in a burglary. The card was used at a Kroger on Cascade Avenue and at a Walmart on MLK. There's a $2,000 reward in this case. You're asked to call police if you know who these women are. Take a live look outside on our Georgia Power camera. You can see a lot of traffic out there, but not a lot in the way of cloud cover.
Yeah, it is hot and sticky, but some good news is coming. Fox 5 Storm Team Chief Meteorologist David Chandley joins us now. And David, if we can make it through the next couple of days, we're going to get some relief finally.
And make it through tonight, make it through tomorrow, and then the weekend. Primo. It's going to be magnificent just in time for Father's Day weekend. Let's update you on that severe thunderstorm warning that we have down here southwest of the city. The lone thunderstorm we have in our state right now, but it's kind of rambunctious in around Franklin. This is Heard County right now. That warning in effect until 6:30 tonight, not only for Heard County, but for northern Carroll County if the storm's kind of hanging together. Concern? 60-mile-an-hour winds and 1-inch hail, so kind of zero in on that. Came through Central Hatchie just no more than a moment ago, but it looks like it's kind of broken apart a little bit there in and around the town of Franklin, heading towards the northern reaches of West Point Lake. And it's diving southeast at about 25 miles an hour. That's about it across our region. Larger thunderstorms next door in Alabama with a couple warnings. We had a few down here in southwest Georgia as well. Temperature-wise across metro Atlanta and North Georgia, it got hot today, topped out at 94, with 91 now. How about 97s in Calhoun and Rome and Eatonton? Wow, Covington at 97 as well. Going Going to be slow to cool tonight, and by early tomorrow morning, we'll park it near 74. It'll be a dry start to the day, but it's going to be warm and muggy. A few upper 60s there in the North Georgia mountains. And then for your Friday afternoon, another hot one. Low mid-90s across the northern tier, some upper 90s in where it's hot again today. Eatonton, Covington, over towards Athens, down to LaGrange and Griffin. The thunderstorm risk tomorrow is pretty small. Here's the deal. We've got a front that's dropping southbound, and here it comes. Behind that's going to be the drier, milder air. So it moves across our region along about early in the morning, and maybe the focal point for a few afternoon thunderstorms later in the day well to the south. But here in North Georgia, I think we're looking at stable air, looking at dry air, and we're looking at temperatures sizzling tomorrow. It won't be till the weekend that we finally see the heat relief. Watch this now as we roll forward up through the 80s. Yeah, here come the 70s early on Saturday morning. Big, huge wind shift, though. Easterly wind may bring us a little bit of cloud cover, but I'm still going mostly sunny on your Saturday. Look at the temperatures tempered there in the low and the mid 80s. Looks like we're going to repeat that come Sunday. Here's your Fox 5 Storm Team AccuWeather forecast, the way I see it right now. You take a look, you find a lot of sunshine across the region, mostly sunny for Saturday and Sunday. I love the comfortable temperatures there in the mid 80s for highs and mid 60s for lows. As we look down the road through the week, we start warming up again and temperatures back into the 90s by the middle part of the week. Slight risk of a shower or thunder shower. So the next several days are going to be really, really dry, and that's a concern. We could use the rainfall. It seems like we've had some thunderstorms. We haven't had enough. In fact, just today, Metro Atlanta is in the severe drought category now. We'll show you and talk more about that coming up tonight at 10.
Yeah, but from 93 to 84 over
we like
the weekend.
It.
That's
yes, indeed.
Be a nice change.
Absolutely.
Enjoy.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks, David, and thank you for joining us tonight for this special web edition of Fox 5 News at 6.
You can stay connected to Fox 5 around the clock. Just like our Fox 5 Atlanta Facebook page, follow us on Twitter at Fox 5 Atlanta, and subscribe to our Fox 5 Atlanta YouTube channel.
And, of course, join us tonight for Fox 5 News at 10 and The Edge at 11. Have a great night.